Hey guys, it's Chen. Humanity is fascinated with ancient relics because they serve as reminders of a bygone time and have managed to endure up to now as vestiges of those who once roamed the earth as we do today. The thought that these items were once created and used by our ancient ancestors, somehow it resonates with many of us because of their historical and cultural significance, as well as the unanswered mysteries that surround some of them. I think ancient books and texts in particular, with the enigmatic knowledge that they contain in their old and tattered pages, are probably among the most fascinating of them all. And one of the most bizarre and mysterious books of our past is the Codex Gigas, a medieval text known for its catchier and more popular name, the Devil's Bible. So what is the Codex Gigas? Well, when translated into English, it literally means giant book, and that name fits perfectly considering that this ancient medieval manuscript is regarded as the largest one in the world. It's measured at 3 feet tall, 1.64 feet wide, and a thickness of less than a foot. And most of us can't even pick this thing up because it weighs at around 165 pounds. So imagine the poor librarian trying to reshelf this thing. Also, this book is bound in a folder made of wood, which is protected with leather and is decorated with metal. The book contains 310 sheets of parchment leaves said to have been made from donkey skin or cow skin. This means that the manuscript has actually 620 pages of writing and illustrations, though it is believed that a few pages have been removed from the book for reasons unknown. Now, the origin of this medieval manuscript can be traced back to 13th century Bohemia, which is located in what is now known as the Czech Republic. Some believe the text was written by Herman the Recluse, but it is generally agreed on that it is indicated in the manuscript that the book was later pawned to a monastery in Sidlik sometime in 1295. Then it was purchased by the Benedictine monastery Brinov, where it was safely kept in its library between 1477 and 1593. Incidentally, the monastery where the manuscript originally came from was destroyed sometime in the 15th century. And it was in 1594 that the Codex Gigas was brought to Prague and it was added to the treasured collection of the Holy Roman Emperor King Rudolf II. But by the end of the 30-Year War in 1640, the emperor's collection was forcibly taken by the Swedish army as spoils of war, and among them was the gigantic medieval manuscript. And this is how, beginning in 1649, the Codex was housed in the Swedish Royal Library in Stockholm. And it was there that supposedly the book actually hurt somebody physically. And I'm not talking about some random curse in the book. What happened was a fire broke out at the royal castle in 1697, and in order to save the book, it was thrown out of the window and it landed on somebody. Anyway, after this incident, the Codex Gigas continued to be kept inside the royal library until 2007. This medieval text was temporarily returned to Prague on loan, where it was displayed at the Czech National Library until 2009. After that, the book was returned to Sweden, where it remains to this day. Now, there are many reasons why the Codex Gigas was once considered the 8th wonder of the world. Some of the more obvious reasons are its size and beauty, but much of the interest regarding this medieval manuscript is in its contents and the intricate process it took to complete it. You see, around half of the pages of the book contain the Vulgate version of the Latin Bible's Old and New Testaments. The manuscript also contains a variety of shorter texts written in Latin, as well as alphabets of other languages such as Greek, Hebrew, and Slavic. Some of them are medieval texts, while another set of pages contain a type of encyclopedia. The book also contains a calendar and writings about magic spells and exorcisms. Pages of the texts are also heavily decorated with stylish borders, intricate lettering, and various illustrations. Now, among the many illustrations prominently featured in the manuscript, one stands out the most. On the 290th page of the Codex Gigas, a full-page depiction of the devil can be found. It is this particular portrait of the devil that the medieval manuscript's other name, the Devil's Bible, was taken from. So let's talk about the devil, well, in this context. Anyway, the devil drawn in the book was a creature who is part man and part beast with claws, hooves, and snake-like tongue. I mean, we've all seen some illustrations of the devil before, right? Satan stands alone between two pillars, and next to his image is an illustration of the kingdom of heaven. While it is not uncommon to find depictions of the devil in several ancient manuscripts, it is really rare to see a whole page dedicated to the Dark Lord's portrait, and it is also unusual for the devil to be drawn all alone without his subjects in hell. Also, as if the devil's image in the book is not curious and mysterious enough, experts have also determined that the uniform handwriting seen throughout the text suggests that the Codex Gigas was written by a single scribe in a relatively short span of time. So considering the various collection of texts contained in his pages, including the intricate illustrations and the illuminations, the realistic estimate for a single person to complete the entire book would be around 25 to 30 years. And also back then, the writer didn't have a computer to type on. I mean, writing was sort of exhausting. However, whoever wrote the manuscript showed really no signs of deterioration in his handwriting, which could be affected by factors such as the scribe's age, disease, or mood over time. Also, based on another estimate, it would have taken a single individual around 5 years to complete the writings alone if he wrote for 6 hours a day, let's say for 6 days of every single week. There were also theories raised about the missing pages of the Devil's Bible, and one of them is that they were deliberately disposed of as they held deadly information, which, if utilized by mortals, could lead to catastrophic results. Others, however, are more pessimistic as they believe that the lost pages were already stolen by those who seek to fulfill some evil purpose. So there are a lot of questions here. Why was the unholiest figure of the devil featured in what is supposed to be one of the most sacred texts of the world? And did a single person really manage to write everything in the Devil's Bible in a short amount of time? If so, who is he or she? For now, nobody really knows. But there is a legend behind this manuscript's creation. According to a version of this medieval legend, there was a monk who served in a monastery. This monk had committed a serious crime, and he was sentenced to pay for his sins by being walled up alive. In order to escape his severe punishment, he vowed to write a book that would bring immense glory to the monastery, which could last throughout the ages. And he promised to accomplish such a feat all in a single night. But just as he was about to run out of time, the scribe prayed to the fallen angel Lucifer for some reason to help him finish the book by midnight. The monk, of course, offered his soul in exchange for the devil's aid, but he also included a portrait of the Dark Lord in the text as an expression of his gratitude. And if that book was written today, there'd be like a page in the front that says, yeah, I want to thank everybody who contributed to my writing, especially the devil who I gave my soul to help me complete this book. Anyway, considering the dark legend involving its creation, it is not so surprising that the Codex Gigas has gained a notorious reputation over the centuries for being cursed. It is believed that the manuscript brings nothing but misfortune, tragedy, and illness to those who come to possess it. The evidence often raised by those who believe that the book is cursed, and it also doesn't help that wherever this book was housed, that place basically burned down. Also, like I mentioned today, the Devil's Bible is under the care of the National Library of Sweden in Stockholm. But just remember, if we ever hear in the future that that place went up in smokes, you're gonna know why. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you later.